LSSP did fought back against it. Its leader, Colvinado Silva, delivered a famous speech where he said, "One language, two nations, and two language, one nation." Even then, they campaigned against it. At the time, the Tamil elite, quite incredibly, they just shown which class they belonged to. They supported the singular bourgeois class, which attacking the Tamil's poor people's rights. So it's one of the important points that missed in lots of history books written by the kind of Tamil nationalist. But each time, and in 1956, based on that kind of propaganda, they won the election in 1956. But they were not able to implement the law immediately. There was a strike immediately after. Each time there was a pogrom against the Tamil people as well. They were attacked by the mobs. Tamil-speaking people in the south were attacked by the mobs, and in many parts of the country as well. But immediately after that, it's followed by the general strike. Usually, Sri Lanka had unusual number of general strikes, and major strike where a lot of Tamil and singular workers participated and pushed them back. It was kind of a street battle. The racist mobs come and attack immediately, followed by the major strike where workers together. I mean, when you have a kind of a struggle, like for example the mobs attacks, it's possible that people kind of divide. It would divide the population. But when they immediately followed by a strike where the both community participate, then again it's unite. So that is what has been happening throughout the history, quite a period. And that's what happened after the election. That's what there was a major strike, and they couldn't implement that act. In fact, the Buddhist monks within that party, part of the government, were so angry that they couldn't get their way. Eventually, one of the Buddhist monks killed the prime minister. That was the situation. And after that, they kind of get an upper hand with the UNP, which is the proper party of the bourgeois class, and rallied the support of this singular nationalism. And J.R. Jayawardena is a famous later president of Sri Lanka. He marched from Colombo, the city of Sri Lanka, to this sacred temple, Buddhist temple, Temple of Truth, promising that he will make the single language as the only language, all kind of racist propaganda and all those nasty things that he was saying. So the UNP, the bourgeois class, were really rallying that mass support behind them. And sadly, workers' movement was weakened by the lack of leadership. Since that general strike, it began to get weakened. But there also the leadership is weakened, but the masses wanted to fight. Their membership is growing, and there's a lot of people looking at them to solve these problems and also change this society for the benefit of everybody. But with that massive support, they made a huge mistake in 1964 by decided to go on a coalition with the Liberal Party. That was a major setback for the workers' movement in Sri Lanka. And LSSP till now never recovered from that from that mistake. Now it's non-existent. It's not a party at all anymore. Nobody talks about it. Nobody knows about it. But at one point it has about 500,000 people voting for it and supporting. So that was the peak of the LSS, which just was crushed down by that decision to have a cross-class coalition. And right wing properly used that opportunity to campaign on the nationalistic racist basis. And once again, like I said before, the Tamil elite, historically defended this bourgeois party, the UNP, all through their neoliberal programs and attack against the Tamil-speaking masses. Starting from 1915, when they attacked these Tamil-speaking Muslims, G.G. Ponambalam, the Tamil elite leader at the time, vigorously defended the attackers. They carried on since 1977. So while happening in the south like that, a lot of young Tamil people, students, youth and students, and the workers were angry on what's happening, on the attack, and also angry on the Tamil leadership, like their incapacity of actually defending the rights, and they were joining in masses in one of the major Tamil party called Federal Party, but because of them, they were kind of pushed towards the left. A little bit towards the left, that Tamil party began to began to demand some of the rights for the Tamil speaking masses. But another important thing happened is that just before 1977 election is that the students actually said, okay, we had enough. We got to make sure that we come together and express what actually we want. So they pushed. The resolution is passed in 1977. It's 76. It's not the Tamil elite. If you look at the terminologies that are used in resolution, establishment of socialist society, that is what the objective declared by the young people at the time, and as a result, there was a polarization between the Tamil and the singular masses, and that's shown in the 1977 election, where the Tamil party for the first time, with a massive support of kind of all the Tamils voted for it, all the Tamils in the sense that in the Tamil areas, they won almost all the places, and they became the opposition party, and that helped the bourgeoisie, in fact, in order to go on the attack. Not just immediately on the Tamil-speaking masses, but overall the class, the oppressed class of the country, Sinhala and Muslims and Tamil. Because Jayawardena, the president, became a president in 1977, was active from the pogroms of 1956. 1958, he was behind all these kind of racist. He has a long history of racist attacks against the workers and the minorities. So he's very clear what he's doing. And the first thing he did was attack the workers' movement. In 1980, general strike, when he started implementing neoliberal policies, the workers took to the street again. And in 1980, there was a general strike. It's a marvelous general strike. And I spoke to the early leaders of this Tamil movement. Some of them are living in exile nowadays. They all talk about that in 1980 general strike, and everybody in the Tamil. This is one of the things that missed in the history books as well. That everybody participated. There was an instruction by Tamil militants to all the Tamil militants, to their cadres, that participate in general strike, make it very successful. That was the proper instruction delivered to all of them. That was the mood in the north, and in south. Thousands of workers took to the street. But Jayawardena, he brought the military, attacked the workers. There was a horrible attack on the workers. The leading trade unionists, number of them, hundreds of them, are put in prison. A lot of strikers were sacked. You would not see that kind of things in the history in many countries. They have to take extraordinary measures in order to attack the strike. But hundreds of thousands of workers were on the strike, were sacked en masse. And those places are filled by the kind of UNP bourgeois party supporting racist thugs, and the military was sent to all the workplaces and to fill the workplaces and so on. So it was a huge attack. The trade union movement just collapsed, and is still not recovered since then. And about LSSP, for example, lost 80,000. Leading, not lost in a sense that died, but lost from the party, 80,000 trade unionists and activists and so on and so forth. They were just managed to, put in prison, attacked and escaped and things like that. So it was a massive setback for the workers' movement. Not so surprisingly, that followed by pogroms against the minority immediately within 3 years, sponsored by the thugs, by the Jayawardena in 1983. There's an attack against the